Hi everybody, we're going to go over homework 96. Not very many of you guys have been doing it that I know of, I can't tell. But there's a weekly quiz for you to test to see if you've been keeping up. It's due tomorrow at 10 a.m., so I hope you'll all upload it. You can print it out the way it is. It's on graph paper, or you can do it yourself on graph paper, but it has to be done on graph paper, not lined paper. You can Google free graph paper, and you can print out your own graph paper from a computer if you want to. So please do that so that I have them by 10 o'clock tomorrow. So there's no new homework tonight, just doing the weekly quiz. So the graph that I asked for number 96 is y equals negative 3 cosecant. Cosecant goes with sine 1/2 x minus 1. So there's a vertical shift. Vertical shift down 1. The amplitude is 3. It's upside down. It's reflected across the x-axis. The period is 2 pi over w, which is 2 pi over 1/2, which is 4 pi. So we have to take all those things into consideration when we make our graph. So when we're doing the graph, you draw the x-axis. And we're going to go down 1. So I drew a dotted line at negative 1. I used 2 boxes for negative 1. You can use 1 box if you prefer. So at negative 1, that's going to be my new x-axis that my sine curve is going to be wrapped around. We need to make the marks on the x-axis. So 1, 2, 3, 4 pi. 1, 2, 3, 8 pi. And the fourth one. It's upside down. So you start at 1, negative 1, and you go down to 3. Down 3, which is to negative 4. And then you go up to negative 1, our new x-axis. Then you go up to 2, because that's 3, a distance of 3. Then you go down, down, up, down. So you make your dots. Then you draw your smooth sine curve. That's y equals negative 3 sine 1/2 x minus 1. But we want cosecant, so we have to draw the u's. So from here we draw u's. Here we draw u's. A u here and a u here. Wherever there's a 0 on the negative 1 part, where it touches the negative 1, we draw an asymptote, x equals 0, right here. X equals 2 pi, x equals 4 pi, etc. We draw all of them, and you label some of them. Is it x equals 0, x equals 2 pi, x equals 4 pi. Right here, halfway, this is 2 pi, halfway to 2 pi is pi, so it's pi negative 4 is this point. This one is 3 pi comma 2. That's enough points to label. You're going to have to label points on your weekly quiz and label asymptotes on your weekly quiz. Do everything the way that we do on the homework. The domain is every 2 pi. So it's x such that x is not equal to 2 pi k, where k is an element of integers. On the quiz I said to write it in set notation. That's for the domain when it has asymptotes. But for the range, you don't have to, like when it's all real numbers, or for sine and cosine, it's between negative 1 and 1. You can write it in interval notation. The range is y such that y is greater than or equal to 2, or y is less than or equal to negative 4. So that's our first graph. And our second graph, There it is. Y equals 4 secant 4x plus 2. It's a vertical shift up 2. It's secant, so it's cosine. The amplitude is 4. The period is 2 pi over w. 2 pi over 4 is pi over 2. So when we make our graph, you graph the x-axis, and then you go up 2, and that's what the graph is going to be centered on. And the amplitude is 4, so 2 plus 4 is 6. It goes all the way up to 6 and down to -2. So if you went by 1s, it would be fine. I went by 2s on my graph. But it makes it really tall. It's a positive graph, so we start up and then go to our y equals 2, then down to -2, back up to 2, 6, 2, -2, 2, and 6. Then you draw the cosine curve. Then you look and see where it touches the y equals 2, the new x-axis, and that's where our asymptotes are. This is pi over 2, and this is 1/4 of it, so it's pi over 8. 1 pi over 8, 2 pi over 8, 3 pi over 8 is the next one, right here. Because 4 pi over 8 is pi over 2. The distance between the asymptotes is pi over 4. It's half the period. The period is 2 pi, and half the period is pi over 4. You draw the u's. Up here it's 0, 6. Up here it's pi over 2, 6. And down here it's pi over 4, -2. When we do the domain, we do x such that x is not equal to the first asymptote, which is pi over 8, plus every pi over 4. The distance between the asymptotes, pi over 4k, that's half the period. Pi over 4k, where k is an element of z, the integers. And the range is y such that y is greater than or equal to 6 or less than or equal to 2. So I hope that's helpful to you. Please do the weekly quiz as soon as possible. I really appreciate it. Have a good day.